MBAs are one of the more valuable master's degrees that a working professional can earn to advance their career. For many, however, a full-time MBA program just doesn't make a lot of sense financially or from a time management standpoint. So that's where online MBAs come in. In this video, coming in at a price tag of just $24,000, I'll be highlighting Boston University's online MBA, which the full-time MBA is a top 50 ranked program, and giving my thoughts on the program to help you decide if it's the right one for you. So stay tuned. Hey folks, Richard Walls here, helping you with career development and personal finance. And if those two topics interest you, then consider subscribing down below and hitting the notification bell so you get notified of when I post new videos. So with that said, let's get to it. Boston University's online MBA is actually a relatively new entrant in the field of online MBAs. Now, they've had an on-campus full-time MBA for quite some time, but this online program represents a new chapter in a wave of highly regarded universities that are bringing their MBAs to an online format. Now, Boston University is doing this in partnership with edX.org. However, according to some users, it seems that Boston University doesn't actually use edX as a platform to really deliver any content. It's more of a marketing partnership for edX to be able to promote Boston University's online MBA. And the university itself uses a whole host of other tools and software to deliver its content, to host live sessions, and to basically carry out the program. This is a little bit different from how the University of Illinois, they have their own online MBA program. They do their program in partnership with Coursera, where they use Coursera as a platform to deliver a lot of their pre-recorded content that's more or less supplementary to the program itself. They then in turn use other tools and other platforms to deliver their live sessions, to have forums and have interaction between students and staff. But in this case, there doesn't seem to be that kind of relationship with edX.org. And even if I were to go on edX.org, I wouldn't really find a whole lot of MBA coursework that I can go explore. So that tells me that this is indeed the case, that edX is not really used here. It's mostly a marketing arm for Boston University. But that's not really a huge deal. Really, what I'll be spending more time on is reviewing the program from a few different angles. First is I'll look at the global university ranking, and this is a way for me to gauge what the reputation of the university is. The university itself, not necessarily the MBA program, though I'll be touching on that as well. Second one is networking. What kind of opportunities do you have, or how many chances do you have to interact with alumni or current students? Third is specializations or concentrations offered. This one I consider to be pretty important unless you're a top 10 MBA program, in which case you don't need anything else. You're a top 10 MBA program. But for many other programs out there, you have to consider that there are a lot of MBA degree holders now than there ever have been before. So you need a way to stand out if you can, and having specializations or concentrations in a certain field of business will certainly help. And this is what makes your MBA a little bit more unique in the field of other MBAs. Lastly, and probably pretty important, I would say most importantly, is the price. And this is really how we're deriving value. You can't derive value unless you have a price, and it could be free or it could be $200,000, but price matters here because what you put into it, you want to see some kind of return on investment. Which, now that I said that, I realize I've already spoiled the price. I mentioned that at the beginning of the video, and it's in the title. It's in the title, so you already know what the price tag is. But again, I'll cover all that in context. So let's get the review kicked off with Global University Ranking. When I look this up on US News and World Report, the university comes in at number 57, which is fantastic. It's very well regarded around the globe, and there's reasons for that I'll get into here in a moment. But the university itself has been around since 1839. It started off as a private university, and since then has produced a slew of Nobel and Pulitzer Prize winners. And not to mention, the telephone was invented by Alexander Graham Bell in 1876 in a Boston University lab. How many schools can say that? The answer is zero. Zero other schools can say that. So it has an incredibly rich and extensive history, and it is designated as an R1 doctoral university, which means it's a top-tier research institution. To me, that is a very positive indicator or positive sign of its reputation. Second point is network, and really when I look at this, I look at it in terms of how many alumni there are and how many current students there are for you to potentially interact with. Now, I will say this, for online MBAs, you're going to have to be much more proactive when it comes to networking and engagement. In a full-time on-campus program, that's a very natural thing to do because you're physically in a classroom with other people. So that networking is already going to happen. In an online program, you don't quite have that same opportunity, although you will likely be doing plenty of team projects. You'll have opportunities to network and connect, but really in an online program, you have to be much more proactive to really build those relationships. But nonetheless, the networking piece here and how many students you have the opportunity to do that with is important. So one figure here is that there are 51,000 alumni of the Questrom School of Business, which is not all too surprising given its lengthy history. And then when you look at how many students are in the program, it's projected that in August of 2021, we're looking at a class of around 500. And one more note about networking in an online MBA program. I mentioned this in other videos, and you can check out some of the links I'll post down below on my online MBA experience with the University of Illinois. But depending on where you live, if you're in a highly concentrated metropolitan city, there's a better chance that there are other students in the program that live in that same city. So there are opportunities to do meetups. Again, this is where I emphasize you have to be proactive about it. And in many cases, the school itself will host some type of event, either regionally or on campus, that you have the opportunity to go and meet with other students in person. So let's talk about specializations and concentrations. Unfortunately, there is not a whole lot to talk about here because they don't offer any for the online program, which is unfortunate because they do offer some for the full-time on-campus program. Now, this is something I suspect that they will add later on as they get their feet underneath them with the online platform. Maybe they'll offer it later on. They'll bring what they have for the on-campus program to the online program for specializations. But at this point in time, that's not what they have. But let's review really quick the core curriculum that they offer. And it looks a little something like this. When you look through the curriculum, they look to be centered around ideas. And the courses address a number of business functions that then relate to those ideas. Now, this is a little bit of a different approach where many programs will divide out into, for example, financial management, and they'll have a number of courses under that. They'll have marketing and a handful of courses under that. Supply chain, then you'll have management. So a lot of these concepts, in this case, are reoriented a little bit differently. I wouldn't say that it's better or worse. I just thought this was an interesting approach and an interesting way that they structured the curriculum. Now, lastly, the price, $24,000. You've already seen it multiple times. I've mentioned it. This is a fantastic value. It's a fantastic price for a university like this to offer their MBA program. So in my view, it doesn't get a whole lot better than that. You're not going to find many good values like this one. The only others that are close in comparison is the University of Illinois, which I currently attend. And I only bring that up because that program is around $22,000, $23,000. So it's all around the same ballpark, and both schools, for that matter, are also in the same ballpark in terms of global reputation. And I've got other videos talking about my experience with that program, which again, you can check out in links below. But for this video, Boston University, fantastic value. It doesn't get a whole lot better than this. Folks, I hope this video helps. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of the program, and even better, if you're in the program now, certainly leave me a comment. I would love to hear your experience, and I know there's a lot of folks in my audience that watch my channel that would be interested in hearing more as well. I've looked on YouTube. I haven't seen a lot of videos on personal experience in this program, so want to get the ball rolling. If you're in the program, do let me know down below. So with that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you around.